All right, this is lesson 6.3, solving systems using elimination. You will learn to solve systems by adding or subtracting to eliminate a variable. All right, do the review quick here. Check back for your answers. All right, so the idea here is that we set up a way to eliminate a variable by adding or subtracting equations. And in order to do that, what we need is a situation where we have the exact same coefficient for the same term. Like here you see 3 and 5. If they were both 5s, then we could subtract the two equations and eliminate that variable. Or if you have opposite coefficients, like we do here with the y's, then we can add the two equations together, and that will eliminate the variable. Now, the idea behind elimination is that if you have two things that are equal to each other, so think about this for a moment. Let's say we have this expression, this equation, 3 plus 5 is 8, and I have any other equation, like 2 plus 3 equals 5. If I add these two equations together, I get 3 plus 5 plus 2 plus 3, and that's equal to what I get when I add what those equations equal. And that's the idea behind elimination. Now that would also work for subtraction. Let's say I wanted to subtract these equations, so I'll just change this sign to a minus. I'm subtracting 2 plus 3. Well, that is equal to 8 minus 5. It's still true. And we can see that this is 8 minus 5 is equal to 8 minus 5. So if I add two equations together and add the results of those two equations together, they're still equal. Okay, so let's think about that with this problem here. What if I added the first two parts of these equations together? So I add 3x plus 5x, I get 8x. I add positive 4y plus negative 4y, and that makes 0y, which is 0. And if I add 38 plus negative 22, I get 16. Well, 0 times y is just 0, and 8x plus 0 is equal to 8x. So I end up with this really simple equation, 8 times x equals 16. And I can just do the division property of equality and find that x is equal to 2. So solving by addition, especially if the equations are written in standard form like these two, is a quick way to get the solution to a variable. We're not quite done yet. We still have to figure out what y is. And so we can take either equation and figure out what y is. So I'm going to just substitute 2 for x there. So 3 times 2 plus 4 times y is equal to negative 22. And that's 6 plus 4y when I simplify it. Let's subtract 6 from both sides. If I do that, I get 4y is equal to negative 28. And divide both sides by 4, and I get y equals negative 7. So there's my solution. I think. I'm going to check it. 2, negative 7. And since I use this equation to find one of the variables, I think it's most important that I check it with the other equation. Make sure that my solution works. So let's check it in 5x minus 4y equals 38. So we're going to substitute 2 for x. And we're going to substitute negative 7 for y. And we hope that that equals 38. 5 times 2 is 10. Minus 4 times negative 7 is negative 28. Is that equal to 38? Yeah, because subtracting a negative is the same as adding, so we get 10 plus 28 equals 38, and it checks. All right, so let's try that again here. What is the solution of the system? Use elimination. Notice in the y's we have the same, the opposite coefficients. One is -6, one is +6. So if we add the two equations together, we will eliminate variable y. Why should your first step be to eliminate y? I can't eliminate x. If I eliminate x, I can't add the expressions that contain y. The expressions 6y, -6y are added to the inverse. That's the most important. All right. And when we do that, we end up with the equation 8x = 16. So we're going to solve that. And we'll do that by dividing both sides by 8, and we get x is equal to 2. All right, and we're going to use that value to solve for y. So 3 times 2, and subtract 6 from both sides, and divide both sides by 6. And we get y is equal to 1. So 2, 1 is the solution. And you really should check that solution in the other equation to make sure that it works. And the other equation is 5x minus 6y equals -32. And our solution is 2 for x. So 5 times 2 and 1 for y. And that does not work. So I made a mistake. And I was wondering if you saw the mistake as we went. That's not equal to -32. So somewhere I made a mistake. And I noticed right here, 48 minus 6 is not 6. It's 42. So y is equal to 7. And if I put 7 here, then I get 10 minus 42, which is -32, and that checks. All right. So we're going to use either addition or subtraction to solve this. So concession stand sold a total of 138 small and large popcorns. So let's let x be small and y be large popcorns. A small popcorn costs $2.50, a large popcorn costs $4. Total popcorn sales were $466.50. How many large popcorns were sold? So if they sold a total of 138, then that means actually x will be the number of small popcorns we sold, and y is the number of large. So then x plus y equals 138 is one equation we can use. And if we take 250 times x plus $4 times y, we will get the total sales, which were $466.50. Now, if we want to use addition or subtraction to solve this, we need coefficients that are either the same or the opposite. We don't really have that now. Like if I were to add these two equations together, and I'm going to do this real quick just so you can see, 1x plus 250x is 350x. 1y plus 4y is 5y. Notice I didn't eliminate a variable when I did that, so we're not going to do that. One thing we can do, though, is we can use the multiplication property of equality, and we can multiply both sides of an equation by any number that we want, and we're not going to change the solutions. We're going to have an equivalent equation. And what I'm thinking here is, I'm thinking I would like to eliminate the variable y. And you could eliminate the variable x if you want, it doesn't really matter. So what I'm going to do is multiply this equation by 4, and this by 4. And I get a new equation, 4x using the distributive property, plus 4y equals 138 times 4, which is 552. Let me check my math on that one. And my other equation is 250x 4y is equal to 466.50. And here I'm going to use subtraction to eliminate the variable, because if I take 4y minus 4y, I get 0y, which is 0. So I'm going to eliminate the y variable. 4 minus 2.5 is 1.5 x, and plus 0y, so I don't need that. Then I have to do 552 minus 466.50. And that equals 85.50. Now I need to multiply both, or divide both sides by 1.5. And that gives me x is equal to 57. So I sold 57 small popcorns. And just to check that, we know that together we sold a total of 138 small and large. So if I just take 138 minus 57, that will be my number of large. And that equals 81. And so there's my answer, the number of large. I hope, just to check to make sure that's true, we should take 57 times 250, the number of small times the price of the small, plus $4 times 81, and make sure that equals 466.50. Question mark there. And that works out. All right, go ahead, you try it. Try setting up an equation and solving it, and check back for the answer. All right, what is the solution of the system use elimination? In this one, look closely, you will see that if you added them together, you wouldn't eliminate a variable. If you subtracted them, you wouldn't eliminate a variable. So what we're going to have to do is create a situation where we eliminate a variable. And one thing I notice here is that 4 is a factor of 12. So if I were to multiply that by 3, then I would have negative 12y for this one, and 12y for the other one, and then I could eliminate by adding. So I'm going to multiply both sides of this by 4. Use the multiplication property of equality. And then I'm going to have this system. 4 times 3x is 12x. 4 minus, oops, sorry, I meant to multiply by 3. 3 times 4 is 12. So we get 9x minus 12y is equal to 51. Now if I add these together, negative 2 plus 9 is 7x. 12 plus negative 12 is 0y. Negative 30 plus 51 is 21. And divide both sides by 7, I get x equals 3. Use an equation and the value of 3 to find the other variable, which is y. And that's negative 6 plus 12y equals negative 30. And adding 6 to both sides, I get 12y equals negative 24. And y equals negative 2. Checking in the other equation just to make sure it works. 3x minus 4y equals 17. And x was 3. 11 to 3 times 3. Y is negative 2. And 3 times 3 is 9 minus negative 8. And that is equal to 17. So we're good. Go ahead and do the last problem. And I'll see you tomorrow. Actually, I'll give you the answers real quick. We're running out of time, so we're going to have to do part 2 on this video.